Hello you guys, and welcome back to another Shop My Stash video. I do post my Shop My Stashes every 2 weeks, so if you're interested in seeing my Shop My Stash playlist, I will link that up in the cards as well as down below. But we are going to be starting in my makeup containers like we always do, so if you're interested or if you like Shop My Stash videos, and then stay tuned. First, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I hope you consider doing that before you go. I do post a minimum of 4 days a week, so if that's something that interests you, then hit the red subscribe button before moving on. But other than that, let's just jump right into it. Okay, so starting in this top drawer, we have my primers as well as my foundations, and then I also have this skincare item that I threw in here. This is from Radiant Labs, which is, I believe, a newer brand. They sent this to me through Octoly in exchange for an honest review, and I've been keeping it in this drawer to remind myself to be testing this out. I've had this for about 2 weeks now, and I like to best pair this with my hyaluronic acid, and it gives me a ton of moisture. I usually use this in the morning time. So it says that this has 200 milligrams of full spectrum CBD, and it also has vitamin C in it. I wouldn't say that I notice any difference in terms of brightening, but I do feel like this adds quite a bit of moisture to my skin. So on days that I have a little bit of extra time to add this moisture, I will go in with this. Sometimes if I'm trying to fly out the door for work, I have to skip this step, but especially on my days off, I like to pair this right after my hyaluronic acid, and I just noticed that my skin feels super hydrated. This is like a really milky serum. Let me just show you. So it's okay, of course my autofocus canceled. It's this really milky, liquidy, lightweight serum. When I first pumped it out, it was a really interesting, I expected it to be a lot thicker. It offers like a subtle bit of a glow right at first, but nothing that lasts. At first, I was not sold on this product, but using it over time and kind of figuring out the best way to use it, I actually have really come to like this product. It does retail for $36. You can pick this up on the Urban Decay website, and I'm looking right now and it looks like it's on sale for $19.99. I think if I could get this, it's hard for me because unless I'm truly like die hard for a skincare product, I do like to test new skincare. I think if I was in Urban Outfitters and saw this on sale, I would maybe purchase it. So maybe that says that I don't love it, but I do think it's a nice product. I do think it adds some nice hydration to the face, and I have noticed that I feel like it dulls redness just a little bit as well. Like if my skin is a little bit irritated, I feel like it takes away some of that redness that I'm experiencing. So those are my thoughts on the Radiant Lab Infused De-Stress Serum. Moving on to this drawer, there's a lot of Project Pan items in here, so I won't go too in detail on Project Pan items. e.l.f. Poreless Putty is a Project Pan. The Wander Beauty Glow Ahead Illuminating Face Oil, I am unofficially trying to pan, and I'm so close to being done with this. I really would like to move some more primer type products out of my collection, and I'm currently using this as like a first step to my primers. So I'm going to keep this in just so I can finish this. This is not something that I would repurchase. The Tarte Base Tape I was testing out. I got this in a BoxyCharm, and I've actually really been enjoying this primer. I think it's really nice if you need a hydrating primer. I would compare this to the Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer. I was really impressed by this. I almost considered not even trying this and giving this to either a friend, family, or saving it for a giveaway because I have so many primers in my collection. But you guys know I love primer and I love trying new primers, so it just didn't feel right to not give this a try, and I'm really excited that I did because this is like ranking up there in some of my top primers right now in my collection. But I did get a ton of use out of this because I obviously was testing this, so I am going to put this away for right now. The Flower Beauty In Your Prime Illuminating Primer, I have decided that I'm going to put in my Graveyard Project Pan. The intro for that video is going up on April 30th. If you guys are interested, then stay tuned. But I decided to pull this in so I could start using it. So I'm obviously going to keep this in since it will be in that project. Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturizer, the illuminating version, is an unofficial trying to pan product. The Revlon Candid Foundation is a Project Pan product. I can't speak this morning. Wander Beauty Nude Illusion, Project Pan, and then these three. So these three I pulled separate from my last Shop My Stash just to try and use as mixers. I am really tan right now just due to like some of the self-tanning I've been doing, so I'm going to keep my YSL Touche Eclat All-in-One Glow just as a mixing agent to make me look a little bit darker. And I'm also going to keep Dior Backstage or Face and Body. This is also going in a project. I've made little to no progress on this, but I'm going to pull the Clinique Even Better and put this back. I feel like my primer and foundation, like all year, I feel like I've just been solely dedicated pretty much to products that have going in my projects. So I really would like to pull at least 1 or 2 foundations and primers that I just enjoy using this time around, because I feel like I just have been so dedicated to projects in basically my entire makeup collection, but especially this category. So this is going to remain looking like this. Again, I have a lot that I'm trying to pan. My second drawer, we have concealer, powder, and bronzer in here. These 2 concealers are currently going in projects. I pulled my Too Faced Born This Way multi-use sculpting concealer last rotation, and I forgot how good this concealer is. I reached for this almost every single day that I did my makeup. I pretty much neglected my 2 Project Pan concealers. This is so nice, but again, very, very full coverage, and I got a ton of use out of this, so I will put this away for the time being. My 2 powders, the Ciate London, I'm unofficially trying to pan this, but this actually is very, very white. Like, it's not really a translucent powder, it's like almost stark white, so I feel like it's a little bit light for my under eyes, especially right now as I do have a self tan. So I'm going to put this away for a while, and then I'm going to keep my Glossier Wowder in. This is in the shade G11/G12, which is still pretty light, but as you can see, it's not a stark white, and I do really like this powder for setting both underneath the eyes as well as all over my face, so I'll keep this in. For bronzer, this Milk Bake Bronzer is a Project Pan item, as well as the Kevyn Aucoin Sculpting Powder and the Tarte Park Avenue Princess. I had also pulled this limited edition MAC bronzer in Canyon Dreaming. This actually is a lot lighter on the skin than I had anticipated. It almost was too light for my like self-tanned skin. I used it a few times and I'm ready to put this back. And then I had recently picked up, I think I picked this up in March, the Milani, what do they call this? The Sunkissed Silky Matte Bronzer. I picked mine up in the shade 2 in hopes that I could use this in the summer with a self-tan. This is definitely too dark for me when I'm at my fairest, but it is a really, really nice formula. Again, I use this a couple times, but I would like to continue using this a little bit more so that I feel like I can give it a fair review. So I'm going to keep this one in. Okay, in the bottom drawer on this side, I have these 3 liquid eye products. I have been loving the Stila Glitter and Glow in Perlina. If you just want to add a little something extra to an eye look, you can tap this all over the lid, and it is so beautiful. It's just like this opalescent shade. I can't explain it, but it is beautiful, and I love this. Especially, I've been doing a lot of purple looks, and I love to pair this on top of the lid for that. I'm just going to keep this pulled because I've been having so much fun using this, and these dry up so quickly. If I'm using it actively, I want to keep using it. The Wander Beauty liquid shadow in the shade Dove Gray, I actually really do enjoy. As you can see, like, I've actually used this. You can see the breaking up on the walls. This is going in a Project Pan, and I've actually been pretty decent about using this. I feel like this is on its last leg, so I'm really glad that I decided to put it in a project and get some use out of this before it officially dries up. I did not reach for this at all, so I will keep this in. I've heard that these little ones dry up even quicker than the big ones, so I definitely want to make sure I get some use out of this before putting it, or before it dies. I pulled this ColourPop Super Shock Shadow in the shade Party of 5. I did not reach for this one time. I was really bad about reaching into this drawer. I pulled this Urban Decay single in the shade Chopper because I do plan to put this in my Graveyard Project Pan. So I've pulled all the products that I plan to use in that project, and this is one of them. Sorry, spoiler alert. I still have my Kaja Trios. I feel like I'm just always going to keep my Kaja Trios in this drawer. Sorry, you can't see them. I have Glowing Guava and Chocolate Dahlia. I like to just keep these in here. I didn't reach for either of these, shame on me, but they just fit really nicely in this drawer, so I'm just going to keep them in here to remind myself to use them rather than putting them back in my single shadow drawer where nothing ever gets reached for. And then I had one more ColourPop Super Shock Shadow. This is going in a project. This was in collaboration with Halo Top in the shade Extra Sprinkles. I used this a few times. Again, it's in a project, so it'll stay. I had the Deuce palette by Juvia's Place. I've been trying to pull a couple palettes that aren't going in my Pan Those Shadows just to focus on and really have some fun cycling through my collection rather than just solely relying on a number generator to decide. I love this palette, especially for the springtime. I even mentioned this in a palettes I'm going to pull for the spring. I used this a couple more times and I'm ready to put this back for a little bit. I will pull this back out before spring summer is over, just because I really do, especially these shimmers in this palette, I think are just beautiful. And then the Benefit Cheekathon palette, I'm working on 2 shades in a project, so that will stay here. Okay, moving on to my other organizer. In the top drawer we have pretty much all blush. And this is another category where I feel like I told myself at the beginning of the year I wasn't going to pan much for blush because I'm always unsuccessful and it always discourages me. But I feel like I have like 80 current blushes in projects, and I even pulled one of the blushes that was in this drawer and put it back because I hit my goal on it. But this is my blush drawer. So Hourglass Ghost Quad, currently going in a project. Flower Beauty Blush Bombs, currently going in a project. Laura Geller Baked Blush in Tropic Hues. I did use this a couple of times. This is a beautiful blush. I should put this away just because I have so much blush I have right now, but plan to pull this out again in a couple of months, weeks, just because this is a really pretty one for spring, summer. The Ofra Samantha March collab in Chick Lit. I use this quite a bit. This is a beautiful duo. I really don't want to put this back. However, this has been going for a couple rotations. I'll just plan to pull this back out, but I'm going to put this away because I did get some good use on it. The Ilia Blush Stick, I only got to use a couple of times, and I do still have to review this on my channel, so I am going to keep this going so that I can use it more and get more thorough thoughts on it for a review. The Tarte Blush in Partay, I have decided to pull into my Graveyard Project pan. Sorry if you guys were planning on, maybe I should stop saying I'm planning to use this in my Graveyard Project because I'm just ruining it for everybody, ruining the surprise. So I pulled this to start using it. Haven't used it at all, but obviously this will stay. Then I had my ColourPop Pretty Fresh blush pulled. I only reached for this one time. I do want to keep this in just because I really was excited to reach for this, and then I was just focused on other blush products, and this kind of got neglected, and I would like to use it a little bit more. My Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Intense Blush. This has been going for 2 rotations. I've used it a couple of times. Every time I want to reach for this, I feel like my eye look is too intense and I don't want to go in with like a darker blush. But with my self-tan skin, I feel like this would look really beautiful. So even though this has already been rolling for 2 rotations, I do still have to get a review going for this. So I want to keep this going for another rotation again, just so I can gather some thoughts and give this a honest, fair review after using it more than just 2 times. Milk Work, I believe, is yes, going in a project. I have so many project items, I'm like forgetting what's in what. And then the Glowgasm Beauty Wand from Charlotte Tilbury is also going in a project. Then I have the Hourglass Euphoric Fusion Blush, also going in a project. Beautiful blush formula. And Hourglass Mood Exposure is currently going in a project, so that will stay. So as you can tell, I still have a lot of room for blushes, but again, I just am so overwhelmed by blush. I'm probably only going to grab like 2 more, and that'll still be a lot. Moving on to highlight and then lips. So any lips that I pull to use, I put in this drawer, and then if I don't use them, they remain in this drawer. So these 4 I didn't get around to using, but in the drawer right below will be all the lips that I did end up using. So highlights, I have quite a bit going in projects as well. These 3 right here, Becca Rose Quartz, MAC Mineralized Skin Finish, and Mary Lou, are going in projects. The Essence Pure Nude Highlighter, I did reach for a couple of times. I am ready to put this back. I also had the Ofra Star Island Highlight, which I reached for a couple of times, maybe only 1 or 2 times, but I am still ready to put this back. I have been mixing my highlights a lot, just to get use out of them, but also to have fun with mixing. So the Fenty Beauty Girl Next Door and Chic Freak, I love a good pink toned highlight. You guys know this. I reached for this so much, and I love the Fenty Beauty highlighter formula, but I did reach for this a ton, so I should put this back. I have the Lancome highlighting palette from the holiday in a project, so this will remain in here. And then I actually did reach for this one probably 4 or 5 times. This is the Laura Geller Baked Gelato Swirl Illuminator palette. It has Ballerina, Gilded Honey, and Peach Glow in here. I love all 3 of these highlights. I know that I got this palette so long ago, and I just kind of picked it up on a whim. So happy that I did. I remember it being a really great deal, and I, again, use all 3 of these highlights, which I feel like sometimes it's pretty rare to get use out of all of the shades within a face palette, but I really love this one. Ready to put it back though. So then I still do have a Ciate Glitter Flip, a Buxom lipstick, a ColourPop Ultra Satin Lip, as well as a Flower Beauty Ultra Matte Lip to try and use, and then I'll pull more lips, obviously. Okay, so then in this bottom drawer we have my mascaras. I always have like 4 or 5 mascaras going. Currently I'm using Milk Kush, Ciate Wonder Wand, L'Oreal Voluminous Black. I got this Ilia one as a 100-point perk. I haven't opened this one yet, but I do just have it sitting here. And then I have MAC Hot and Naughty. This used to be a favorite mascara of mine in high school and college, and I don't know how I got this to work because I feel like this transfers, or I get this all over my face all of the time. I had my my ABH Moonchild Glow Kit pulled, and I reached for this a ton, especially or mostly just for inner corner highlighting, but I got a ton of use out of this guy, and I'm ready to put this back. And then I also had my Tarte Clay Plate 1 pulled. I only reached for this 1 or 2 times. This has been going for a couple rotations, but I would like to try and use this just a little bit more, so I think I will keep this in for 1 more rotation. And then here are all of the lip products that I used. I also have quite a few lip products going in projects, so I reached for those as well. But I have 2 of the Ofra glosses. I've really been enjoying the Ofra gloss formula. I have the shades Pink Panther as well as BRB. BRB is a really beautiful shimmery shade that I like to tap on the center of the lips. I've really been enjoying that. I also have this little mini one from Buxom in the shade Emma. I have the Persona liquid lipstick in the shade OG. I forgot how much I love the Persona liquid lipstick. In the tube, it looks like it's a very warm toned brown, but I find that when this dries down on me, it's not nearly as warm tone as I think it is, which sometimes I don't love a warm tone brown nude on me. But I loved this, and even though I use this, I'm going to put this back in my top drawer and try and use it again because I love the Persona liquid lipstick formula. And then I also used the Marc Jacobs lip gloss stick in Mocha Chocolate. Not my favorite thing ever, but it works. And then I used the NARS lip lacquer, whatever they call these, in Santo Domingo, a really pretty mauve shade, but ready to put these back. Okay, you guys, usually I don't show like my drawers below. I know you can probably barely see them right now, but I also pulled some extra palettes to put in here. In that corner right there, that's like all of my lip panning products, and most of the palettes in this drawer over here are my Pan Those eyeshadows, but I'm going to share the other palettes I had pulled. I had the Natasha Denona Mini Glam. I did reach for this quite a bit, either for inner corner highlighting or to use the matte shades. I wanted to possibly use this one more time before my Shop My Stash ended, but I didn't get around to it. I did use this again a couple of times though, so I will put this back. I also had ABH Soft Glam pulled. I just love this palette. I feel like I've been focused on my ABH palettes in the month of April. I've been getting a ton of use out of them, but I will put this back. I also had Norvina. Again, I've been doing a ton of purple looks, so reaching for this a ton, but ready to put this back. And then finally, I had also pulled my Natasha Denona Lila palette. I love this palette, but I only reached for this twice. And I would like to see how I can pair this palette with my Nabla Dreamy 2, which is currently going, or has a shade going in my Pan Those shadows. So I'm just going to keep this pulled in this drawer for the time being. And then finally, I thought it would be fun to curate a little mini palette every 2 weeks, just to get some more use out of my single shadows. So this is what this one looks like right now. And I thought I could just curate a little palette every single week with some of my singles with you guys, and that would be fun. So after that, that is everything that I had going in my last rotation. Here's my messy desk and you can see my coffee, but now it is time to shop my stash. Okay, my makeup drawers are in my closet, so it's always a very tight squeeze when we shop my stash, but in my top drawer I have all of my primers and foundations. Again, I kind of want to just pull for something that I'm really going to enjoy and have fun using because I feel like I've been so focused on Project Pan items. For foundation, I'm going to reach for my Dior Forever Skin Glow. I love this foundation. It is absolutely beautiful and it is a little bit darker, so I feel like it will match my self-tanned skin. And then I really did enjoy the Ilia Super Serum Skin Tint, and I've used this quite a bit with in the short amount of time that this has been in my collection, but this is really beautiful on days that I want just a really light coverage foundation or skin tint. Tinted moisturizer, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to pull this. That will be it for my foundation. And then for primer, I want to see what kind of use I can get on this little mini guy from Laura Mercier, just because I recently started to get my numbers together for my makeup inventory and my primer category is scary, so I would like to see how many primers I can quickly move out of my collection. So I'll pull this, and then I want to reach for a primer that I just love and enjoy using. So I'm going to reach for one of my all-time favorites, which is the First Aid Beauty Coconut Skin Smoothing Priming Moisturizer, and we will call it good for this drawer. Okay, in this second drawer I have a powder and concealer, and I don't have a ton for either of these categories. For powder, I want to grab the Milk Makeup Blur and Set Primer. I didn't love this powder when I used it, and I would like to kind of just decide if this is something that I want to keep in my makeup collection or if I want to get rid of it. As you can tell, I have a ton of this left, so I would like to make that decision now and then decide if I want to get rid of it. And then as far as concealer is concerned, I'm going to grab the Jouer Essential High Coverage Concealer. This is, I believe, the deepest concealer I have in my collection, and this will be the best match for me when I am self-tanned. It's been a while since I've reached for my Elsie concealer too, and I absolutely love this concealer, so I think I will just grab this one as well. Okay, so moving on to my bronzer drawer. I feel like I don't have that much bronzer actually. I feel like I've reached for most of these pretty recently, except for the Balm Desert, just because this is a darker bronzer and this only matches me in the summer. I do feel like I am self-tanned enough right now to make this work. So I'll grab this, and then I think I'll just grab my Marc Jacobs Tantastic Bronzer as well. Okay, moving on to the blush drawer. I know I want to grab Becca Flower Child. I love this blush, especially for this time of year, so I'm definitely going to be pulling this. And then I will also pull this one from Buxom. This is in the shade Mykonos, which is this beautiful, beautiful pinky coral. It's very bright, but I think it'll be beautiful for this time of year. I'm actually also going to grab the Ciate London Blush in Date Night. There it is, swatched right there. I'm going to grab this one for when I want more glowy cheeks, even though the Becca Flower Child will give me a glow. I also just think that this is going to be really beautiful for this time of year. Again, I have so much blush. I'm overwhelming myself again, but I just think that's beautiful and I really want to reach for this. Here is my overwhelming highlight drawer again. I know I want to reach for Persona Zuma. This is a very intense highlight. It can be too dark for me if I am fair, but I think that this will work really well for me right now. And then what else? I think, oh, maybe I'll grab this one from Dior. This is the Pure Nude Highlight in the shade 1, I believe, which is just a really pretty champagne shade. Then for a pink toned highlight, I will grab this one from Dose of Colors in I Love Sarai. This is in the shade Bathe. This looks really, really dark, but it is so beautiful and so intense. It's a little icier than I like to go for with a pink tone highlight, but I do love this highlighter and I'm really excited to reach for this. And then I also just grabbed this the other day and tossed this on my cheeks. This is from Artist Couture in the shade Summer Haze. I actually really love the Artist Couture loose highlighter, the Diamond Glow Powder. I think it is so beautiful. So I want to pull this again, see what I think, see if I possibly want to pick up another shade, but I wish that the shade, I don't know if it was a BoxyCharm exclusive shade, but I know that this shade is not available currently on the Sephora website, which is such a bummer because I really, really like this shade. I also have this little mini in Cocoa Bling, which just looks a little bit icy. Maybe I'll pull these two and just see how this looks. Okay, moving down to this drawer. Oh boy. I think I told myself last week I needed to reach for MAC Hyper Real Glow because it's been so long since I reached for this, even though I have a ton of highlighters currently pulled. We'll just reach for this too. I forgot I also wanted to reach for my ABH Sun Dipped Glow Kit. I know I have way too much highlighter currently pulled. I'll probably end up having these for a couple rotations. Sometimes I like to use this bronzed shade specifically as an eyeshadow, so I think I'll pull this as well. Why the heck not? And then we can call it good for my face palette drawer. Okay, this next drawer down is my pigments, liquid shadow, as well as single shadows. I don't think I'm going to grab for anything out of this drawer this week just because I was pretty unsuccessful in what I had grabbed last week, so we're going to leave it be for this drawer. The next drawer down is liners and mascaras. You guys know I never grab for anything from this drawer. I just grab for it as I need it, so I will leave this drawer be as well. Okay, and then the last drawer down just has all of my new stuff that I have yet to test out. The only things I'm going to grab from here, I do want to try these products out from Florence. I got these, I believe, at the end of March, and I still haven't tried these. So I have one of the cream blushes in the shade Zen Z. It looks like it might be a little bit dark. Let's see. Looks like it'll blend out to it may blend out to a pretty shade. So I want to try this out. And then also the Chill Face Mist. When I misted this in the store, it seemed like a really fine mist, which I was excited about. And I'm almost done with one of my other mists that I use kind of in the middle of my makeup, and I feel like this could be a good alternative. So I want to give this a try. But after that, that is going to be all of the products that I'm going to grab from here. Okay, here's where I store all of my lip products. It can sometimes be a little bit difficult to actually shop through my lip drawers, so I just pulled what I want to put in my drawer to use for lips, and I'll share it with you. So I have this shade from Lime Crime. I don't know if I've ever reached for this since I've owned it. It's in the shade True Love. I also have this from Maybelline. This is their Superstay 24-Hour Color in the shade 230 Absolute Taupe. I have a Kylie Jenner lip liner in the shade Apricot, as well as her lip gloss in the shade Like. I have Fenty Beauty Diamond Milk for when I want to have a really sparkly shade to tap on the center of the lips. I also have this from YSL. This is one of their lip stains in the shade 22, which is a really fun coral color. And then I'm also going to pull this Tarte Rainforest of the Sea lipstick. This is in the shade Colada, which is a really beautiful brownish nude shade. And that is going to be it for lips. Okay, I have 3 palettes that I want to pull to work on outside of my project pan. I have the Desi and Katie Friendcation palette, just a great palette. I want to grab another ABH palette, the ABH Jackie palette. You guys know this is a favorite of mine. I want to give this some love. And then I also wanted to pull Urban Decay Born to Run for when I want to have some fun with some color, but also have some good options for neutrals. So I'm going to pull these 3 for my palettes, and that should be good for actual physical palettes I'm going to pull. Okay, you guys, and then finally the shadows that I pulled for my singles that I want to focus on. I just did an all shimmer curation, so I can kind of use this as a complementary palette just to have some fun with. So up here we have I'm Peachless from Makeup Geek, Pink Champagne from ABH, Glass Bowl from ColourPop. This is a shadow that I depotted out of, I think it was the Anna palette from ColourPop and Frozen, Backlight from Makeup Geek, Going Bananas from Give Me Glow, as well as On Ice from Give Me Glow Cosmetics. So these are all of the singles I'm going to try and get some use out of. Alright, you guys, there we go. We have full makeup drawers once again for this episode, or this next 2 weeks of my Shop My Stash. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what products you are going to be pulling out for the next couple of weeks. I would love to hear from you. Other than that, thank you so much for sticking around to watch today's video and for supporting my channel, and I will catch you in my next one.